Welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Aussie Baggers Show. You've got your hosts here, myself, Daniel, and Liam here, coming to you from Wollongong, Australia. We have got with us on our first episode special guest and Chief Development Officer. Did I get that right, Todd, from the American Cornhole League? So welcome, Todd.
Thank you. Than's for having me.
No
Thanks
worries
for
at
joining
all.
us today as well, Todd. We really appreciate it, especially from what looks like quite an interesting event in the background. Something that I think a lot of us Australian cornhole players are looking forward to in Tweed Heads, December 8 to 10.
Yes, this is the second ACL Europe Championship. Last year was roughly about 60, 65 players. This year we've got over 225 players. So it's grown quite a bit in just the last 12 months.
And so
it's really good to hear.
So tell us a bit about what you're doing in Paris. Like, how heavily involved are you there, and what's sort of the event? What's happening in this event? How many days, and what sort of tournaments are you going to be running?
Yeah, we started last night with kind of a pre-kickoff event, just a swap event, which is a random partner every round type setup. So did that after a brief introduction ceremony. We've got today starting any moment now is the European top 16 Sweet 16 event, where the winner of that will get a trip to the U.S. to play in a national event next year. Later on, we have the WCO event, which is 14 different countries have qualified a team to come here this year. So they're going to be playing in a group stage first, and the top teams will advance to a knockout stage. So that's pretty exciting. Tomorrow, the top 14 will play on a broadcast, and they'll play down to the.
Awesome. And have you got any pro players that have made the trip from America to Paris?
Yes, yeah, we have 13 U.S. and Canadian pros who made the trip. So right now, over my right shoulder, we've got those 13 players are doing a pro invitational qualifier to get down. The top 8 of those players will make our pro invitational broadcast tonight.
Awesome. And so you mentioned
that invitational is pretty cool. Oh, sorry.
So you've got the
all the
fancy cameras set
one
up.
U.S. player with European pro.
Yeah, nice.
I think we got a little lag in our audio, so.
Yeah, the lag never helps, but that's all good. We can still hear you loud and clear. And is that going to be televised or live streamed on one of your apps? How are people going to be able to watch that?
Yes, it'll be on our ACL TV and then Facebook, as well as ACL Europe. These sorts of events, because it's kind of an odd hour in the U.S., are recorded, and then if we've got a quality broadcast, we'll be able to feed that into potentially ESPN.
So is that what's going to be like for the Tweed Heads for the ACL Open in Australia? So it'll be the same. I think it was noted as a Pro-Am on there. So it's that same sort of, a few guys trying out, competing, and then you'll be sort of paired with a pro American player.
Yeah, exactly. We're hoping that we get 8 North American pros to make the trip over to Australia. A few that have already booked their trips. Great. If we can get to that 8, then one of the events that the Australians can sign up for is the qualifier, whereas the top 8 Australians will be able to get partnered up with a U.S. pro and play in a $10,000 event.
Yeah, when I mentioned to Liam that there was $10,000 worth of prize money that the ACL was putting up, I think he nearly fell off his chair. So definitely, pretty exciting, and definitely, cornhole's one of those games where it's fun first, but definitely when you're putting that sort of money on the line, I think there's going to be some pretty heated heated games. And look, we'd love to obviously, just keep talking about the European Open. That's obviously pretty exciting. But for those of us here in Australia that don't know, who you are, Todd, can you tell us a bit about, where you come from, your family, and how you sort of came across the game of cornhole?
Sure. Yes, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I started my own cornhole company about 8 years ago, maybe a little over 8 years now. It was called KB Cornhole Games. Just something that the family started in our backyard. Originally we were just going to make boards and rent them out to people, and then we realized how hard it was to make boards in your garage at any sort of capacity. So during around the same time, we decided to run a fundraiser event for a local nonprofit that my wife was affiliated in her social work position. And I really enjoyed the organization and the details that went into planning an event. So I started from there, just kind of contacting festival goers or festival organizers, different golf courses. Say, hey, can I come and run a tournament on your off hours or something like that? The community playing in the area was able to get some traction that way. Then corporate or businesses would see me at festivals, and they would see if I would come out and run an event for their company or something like that, which kind of from there. At the time, I was a professor at a university here in Arizona, so I was kind of doing this on the side. And after a few years, it just got so time consuming that I had to make a choice, go into my, go full in with my business or stay with my university position. And I decided to fall in with the business. And luckily, I have a supportive wife who was okay with that, and was able to kind of lean on her salary while we got up and going. So, but then, probably a year in or so, I was able to get connected with Stacy Moore, the commissioner of the ACL, gave them some feedback on their website, really kind of dove into the software, which kind of was in my background area at the university with evaluating software. So I was able to kind of get linked up with them. A couple of my players wanted to play for something bigger than just a local tournament. They wanted to earn rankings nationally. So at the time, I was combining everything on spreadsheets and trying to do rankings that way, and saw that the ACL had it already built in, where I could enter the results or run the software, and it would give me the rankings right then. It saved me hours a week doing that. So it just kind of grew from there. I really took off of running events. 2019, range of different events. Pre-COVID, I had my entire 2020 booked up with at least 3 events a week. So it was really taking off here. And then, of course, obviously COVID hit, and everything kind of shifted to virtual and pivoting, and that's when it seems like everybody just got really good at the game with being in their backyards, being able to shoot back.
Oh, it's a really interesting sort of organic way, I guess, that it came about for you. Just your standard backyard league, and I guess that's a shout out to all the other Aussies around. If there's no league in your area, just sort of get started and get going. I know Dan started, our Illawarra league, and we're in the 4th season now, and getting quite a few people turn up every week, and the quality and skill level just from everyone coming around, having a beer, having a bit of a throw and a laugh. Everyone's gotten really good, and it's created a great atmosphere and a really sort of tight knit community. That's definitely for sure. So I guess you sort of touched on your progression into sort of the ACL. I guess we slightly touched on it before, but your chief responsibilities for, as what I understand, is growing the game internationally. I guess what are the steps you're taking to get that to happen?
Yeah. So one of the main responsibilities is that kind of international development. I also work with all the directors in the U.S. as well, to kind of support them and get them the resources they need. But yeah, and in terms of growing internationally, it really, there's only so much that we can do from the U.S. So it's finding really talented directors who are ambitious and have a kind of a scope and a vision for how they can grow cornhole in their country or continent. So that's why it's really important to do that, to find the right people. And I get communications from people all over the world, South America, Asia, obviously Europe and Australia, and just kind of get a feel for where they are in terms of what their skill set is, so that help them get to the next level, or provide them with tips or things that I've learned through all the mistakes I've made along the way. But really, it's having talented people on within that country to really be able to take the lead and be able to jump in with that. And then I offer as much support as I can so far. Last year here in Rotterdam, Netherlands, I did a lot of the management of the tournament when I got here, but the group who Wicked Woods Games, they were the ones that really organized all the details and got everything in line for the event. And then going into this year, they took more of an active role in actually running the event. So when I would come over to Europe, I would simply be here just for support. If something went wrong with software or something that they hadn't seen before, I was just able there to kind of lend a hand. So kind of that progression of just being there as a comfort, in case something goes on, but really empowering them to run with it. And it's been pretty successful both here in Europe, and Canada as well has done a great job with that sort of structure as well.
Yeah, I've noticed like some of the and I remember those COVID days where, I was lucky enough to play in some of the virtual deck around tournaments that you had organized. And that was a great chance to be teamed with a pro ACL player. So that was a pretty cool experience. But some of those guys that were throwing, 40s, 50s, 60s sort of deck around scores, all of a sudden now I'm seeing in Europe like throwing in the hundreds, and that's pretty impressive to see that they're now probably gonna, although it's not all about just getting the bag in the hole, I dare say a few of those Europeans and Canadians are going to be able to mix it with some of those US pros. So I'm looking forward to obviously seeing how the game develops. It's obviously taken off in Canada, naturally being so close to the US. Europe seems to have just excelled so quickly in terms of their development and interest in the game. Obviously, our hope here is that once we have you guys over, and we're very excited to have the ACL over here in December, we'll hopefully see the game take off even more. So just on the, I guess, the Australian Open that's taking place in Tweed Heads in December. What's sort of involved in terms of bringing the ACL crew over, actually setting up the event? What sort of goes into setting a tournament like that up?
Yeah, there are lots of details, of course, especially around the broadcast side of things. Just being able to have reliable people that can set up the broadcast and kind of understand what we do from our broadcast standpoint. That's kind of the big thing that we're able to offer with this. The tournaments themselves within Australia Open are going to be pretty typical of normal event. It's just any event kind of combined into the weekend. So that's really, I think, we were able to kind of bring some of that production side of things, a little bit of exposure, but really it's all the groups in Australia who are running events and things like that are getting players passionate about the sport, where they can then say, oh, maybe I want to go check this out. And for a lot of the first time, especially here in Europe, it was a lot of hesitancy. We're not professional there. I can't get people. And then after the first year, I think a lot of people saw that, hey, I don't really need to be a professional to play at this thing. It's more about the experience, more about starting to, build that community, grow that community. You start to make friendships and whatnot with people that you may see once or twice a year, that you can kind of count on them to almost like mark it on your calendar every year to say, hey, I'm going to be able to get in with, catch up with somebody who I haven't seen, or maybe I only converse with them on Facebook or Instagram, and now I get to actually connect with them in person.
Yeah, so it's definitely like a really sort of community orientated sort of game, and getting everyone involved. And I guess that seems to be, the core of, what seems like cornhole in America, and hopefully that translates, through Australia and all the other countries in Europe as well. So I guess with this being the first event in Australia coming up, do you have an idea of, sort of how many people are going to be competing? What numbers are we looking at?
Yeah, that's really, I think it's to be determined. There's a lot can happen in the next 3 months in terms of growth and whatnot. Obviously, the more people we can help with exposing the sport to, who can come out, even if they just want to come out and sit in the stands during the broadcast and watch that. That all just helps to grow some of these things. I always say that directors who are hesitant about running an event, just pull the trigger and do it, plan it, do it. You can't have your second event until you have your first. So just go there, do it, start to organize it, and then you learn from what went well, what didn't, and then the next time you make it better, and it'll grow every year, going from 60 players to 200 players in the last 12 months of the event. So that's really, and to answer your original question, I don't know the numbers at this point. I'm hoping for 1,000, but but we might, maybe it's 50 to 100 players who come out and want to join. And it's the one thing that I really, back to 8 years ago when it started, the thing that really kind of drew me to the ACL was the ability to grow the division. Be able to offer events to different skill levels. And it's taken 5 or 6 years to really fine tune those divisions at the ACL, at the US level. But we're still, we're still trying to kind of evolve that each year is even better, and people are having fun when they play because they're able to be competitive. I'm not a good player at all. That's why I never compete in those virtuals or anything like that, because I don't want anybody to see how terrible I am. But if I go out and I have to play Tony Smith or Frank Motley, it's going to be, I'm going to throw 8 bags or 12 bags, and it's going to be over and doing nothing just like that. So, that's not fun for anybody, and it doesn't help anybody grow. But being able to maybe start in a big group play with those people, but then eventually you get yourself to a point where you're competing. That's really where players.
I think we're just losing a little bit of that audio again, Todd, but hopefully you can do a little bit of filling around with the connection there. But I think it's similar. I think we're getting to a point here, at least at the Illawarra Cornhole League, where I think we're almost at the stage where we can start to get into sort of upper and lower brackets. And although the swap sort of format is great because it allows you to sort of rotate partners and things like that, I think getting people comfortable with being new to the game and not feeling overwhelmed, or that they're going to get you're going to lose 21-0, 3 games in a row. I think, yeah, as the game grows and there's more of a bigger pool of players, obviously then we can start to stagger those players into certain, I guess, levels and at least everyone's sort of, still having that fun and getting those close games. And then obviously working towards going up to the next, the next tier of performance. I'm just looking at the iPlayCornhole.com website and the ACL event here in Australia. So we've got the open doubles, open singles, ACL swap, and then the 10,000 ACL Pro exhibition. So open doubles, as far as I understand, is anyone can choose like a bring your own partner, where they'll just choose a partner, bring them along, and obviously play against other doubles teams. Open singles, obviously pretty self-explanatory. With the singles, will that be the pros included in that as well?
So for both open doubles and singles, it'll be like a rounders based format initially. It's a 2-stage. So the stage 1 of the rounders, and that's that progressive format. So everybody starts together in a pool, and then as you keep finishing games, you can play against somebody with a similar record. So if you're 3-0, you're going to play somebody else who's 3-0 or 2-1. Maybe if you're 0-3, you'll play somebody who's 0-3 or 1-2, so that it's progressive. So that by the end, the top players are playing together. Down the line, again, you're playing with people who are at a similar skill level. Then stage 2, you take those results, depending on the number of teams, split into number of division levels. So it could be advanced, competitive, and intermediate. And those divisions would often play in their own separate double elimination. So the idea is to have everybody, by the time they get to that double elimination stage, they are playing with people with similar skill levels. So kind of the best of both worlds, because you could get a chance to play with a pro first round, but you don't have to worry about playing a pro every single round.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess the elephant in the room and the most talked about thing it seems to be at the moment is the bag policy. So in America, obviously, the game has developed to the point where there's official ACL stamped bags that are available for use in tournaments, regional, state, and obviously international. What do you think will be the case here in Australia in terms of whether players will be able to bring their own bags that don't necessarily have an ACL stamp, or will it be a case where everyone that participates will need to be using an ACL stamped bag?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I think we've been kind of going back and forth on getting equipment there for players to get their hands on. I know we're 3 months now. A little over 3 months away. So it is obviously tight in terms of being able to get bags, break them in. So I think this first year we're certainly going to be flexible with the stamped bag for most of the event. Obviously, those players who make the pro invitational, where there's a broadcast involved, those will be stamped bag required. But for the Australians, likely if they're partnering up with a U.S. or Canadian player that's sponsored, those players are already going to have their bags, the stamped bags with them. They've got pros have a different set of requirements to follow in terms of bags that they use. So for the players, I wouldn't stress out about making sure you go out and spend, buy directly from BT and have them shipped there for a enormous price or anything like that. But as this evolves and as we continue to kind of get more information on when we can get enough equipment there to get into the hands of players, we'll be able to further update. But I imagine this first year, similar to how we did last year with Europe, we were pretty flexible with bag selection. And I'm guessing too, we'll also have some bags on site to test out and try if they want, if they haven't been able to get their hands on those bags.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Australian Customs are going to view the cornhole bags, which will be coming in, I imagine, with the pros luggage. So I'm hoping there's no cutting of bags or anything like that. I'm sure that would be heartbreaking for the players coming here. But yeah, I agree. I think, you know, there'll be an opportunity for some of the Aussies here to get a feel for the bags that the US and Canadian pros and the ACL staff will bring over, which will be exciting. Yeah, it sounds to me like, yeah, which is great. There's going to be a little bit of flexibility, obviously, just with the constraints and costs around, you know, being able to get ACL stamp bags and equipment over here before December. So that's really good news. I'm just looking at our clock. We've probably got about 5 minutes left, and I know, Todd, you probably got plenty of things that you need to do there to make sure that everything runs to plan. Liam, did you have any sort of burning questions? Or
I've just got one final one, I guess. In regards to, you know, you guys having the ACL stamp bags and stuff like that, are you planning to bring over some stock to sell to, you know, any of the cornhole players that are going to be playing there? Not necessarily for use at the tournament, but more to get their you know, hands on a set of you know, ACL stamped ones. So, you know, whether or not, you know, it's ACL stamped in the future when it comes back to Australia, if it comes back to Australia, that, you know, maybe they're ready for that and, you know, have a better feel for exactly what, you know, the pro players use.
Absolutely, yeah. The idea is to get you know, a bunch of equipment over there so that we can get it into the Australians' hands, so that they can try it all out, whether it's boards or bags. Yeah, that's the plan. It's just you know, there's certainly logistics similar to what you know, drawing back to the structure of the event. You know, same with equipment, trying to get it over to Australia in a cost-effective way, that's above my pay grade. I'm good on the director side of things, but when it comes to shipping and whatnot, that's something that you might as well be speaking French, because I'm not going to understand too much of it.
Yeah, no, fully understand. And, you know, dealing with Australian customs can be a big one sometimes as well.
Yeah, I think you know, being an island nation does have its drawbacks at times, but yeah, look, certainly we're super excited. Liam and I will both be making the trip up to Tweed Heads in December for the Australia Open. I think, you know, Tweed Head Club Tweed, which is where the tournament is being hosted, looks like a terrific venue. So it's exciting that, yeah, you guys were able to lock that in, and being so close to the beach, so close to the airport, with plenty of things to see and do there. It's going to be a great destination for some of the international players. I think you might have even mentioned there could be some interest from other countries around the Asia Pacific as well, in terms of having some amateurs from there fly into. So very excited to have the ACL crew over here in Australia, and we'll definitely make you all feel welcome. Thank you again for taking the time to chat with us on our first ever episode of the Aussie Baggers show. I think, look, it can only go onwards and upwards from here, but nice to have you on the first ever show. And I hope you have a great time in Paris. Looks like it's going to be an exciting event. We'll certainly be following all the action on the ACL Cornhole TV and Facebook. So thanks for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh yeah, thanks for having it. I'm super excited too to come over in December. I've already got my my wife and daughter are begging to come over as well. So I think we're going to be there for a couple of weeks. A family trip out of it as well. So the fact that it's near a beach is really perked my daughter's years. She's a little beach bum, so excited to be on. Thanks for having me on, and excited to come over in December. Anytime you have any questions or anything like that, let me know.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Todd. Really appreciate it.
We'll obviously, share your details after the show, and refer everyone obviously to the ACL Australia Facebook page and the ACL website, which obviously has all the information on the tournament. So Thanks again, Todd.
Todd.
Thanks, Liam, and yeah, we'll see everyone for episode 2.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Todd. Bye.